horrible playing path to start our day off here, though. Day 1 was very kind. Day 2, even kinder when it came to playing path. Day 3, no prisoners, no mercy. Playing path down from Sosnovka all the way to the western side of Gatka here. A horrific way to begin, but for Stalwart dropping out early towards Novo, this could be a really good start for these boys.
And actually 2 teams going to be dropping out on the eastern side of the military island. Going to be a little bit of conflict potentially over towards Novo, a hot drop, and 2 more teams, 3 teams actually dropping out over Sosnovka, but they're all heading north, so likely going to see them over on that main island. Nobody going for C block at the moment, not that I can see anyway, which is fairly interesting, I'd say, with the playing path as it is. Still time to turn around if they want to go. And look at that, Alpha 7, they did drop out in the same position as Godlike Stalwart, but they are going to go all the way over the water towards Milter Power.
Yeah, I mean, but this is practically their basic drop spot anyway, so this is fine for Alpha 7 as a backup. Other than that, towards North George, also an availability for Alpha 7, been dropping their majority of the time throughout this tournament. But Milter Power, Milter, very standard drop spot for Alpha 7 during this match. I don't think anyone's going to cause them too many problems on this side.
I am really surprised, though, that nobody dropped on C block or even on the western sides of that island. They're all going to have to head north, and not only because of the plane path now, they will go up with the circle. Another northern Erangel.
I think for most people, they realize that, honestly, going down towards Sosnovka military base or on C block, with this type of meta, this type of lobby, where they're all going highly central, that's Inco, though, getting dropped upon by S2G. They lose a couple there. That's one already down. Vitali sends away. Takes a fair bit of damage on the way out. That's Inco already losing one player. This could be a little bit tricky for them now. Wanting to take that central position early on, play with 4, but now playing with 3. This will cut their chances a little bit.
With losing Nenebete as well. That's really not the ideal candidate. Hang on a minute. Buradam are there as well. Inco, they are getting chased down right now. S2G with the elimination point that they were able to get. They're now 1 point behind Inco at the top of the tables, Blank, and maybe looking to pursue a little bit more with only 2 players alive for Inco. You've got to think that that central strategy of theirs is looking pretty shaky.
Yeah, this is not ideal for Inco, honestly, especially with that playing path. It does not give them a lot of time to get set up and going. Inco is a team that tends to do very, very well towards that end game, honestly, John, and that's where they find their big rewards. And you can also get yourself some big rewards from 2022 PMGC Special Crate, only available till the end of today, January 8th, so make sure you get hands on that whilst you still can.
4 angry men just picking each other up and moving forwards. Look at this, early moves. Generally, what you will see from Inco this time around, though, they are cut down in half. Vitali took a lot of damage early. There's no meds on Squash, so they still have yet to go for this loot. A lot of teams have made their way up north fast, and one of those teams, 4 Angry Men, will be across that river in North George, 2-2 right now. And all 4 of them still alive. T2K also moving to that north of the river. IHC, South George occupation.
Yeah, T2K can head towards Box Compound, perhaps hold there for a little while longer before heading up towards Severny side. 4 AM picking up their usual drop spot in North George, so they know that this should be clear, this should be clean. They'll either drop out and get towards that position nice and early. Inco's headed up towards Rozhok. And imagine that they'll loot up quickly and then head a bit further upwards, but I think right now with Severny, the very limited amount of places you can play in Severny and that area around it, this is going to be requiring to have 4 members, 3 members alive to be able to take some of the priority positions. So I think this might be a bit of a write-off for Inco at the start of the day. However, this does lead us into a lot of that big storyline. However, Frozen currently demolishing Jane here, sending an absolute deadly spray his way.
And only bandages on board for Jane, which means that this fight is looking pretty shaky for the T2K outpost. Nade in through the window! You only need 1 HP to be able to lob those nades through, and that's going to be a flush. Frozen eliminated by T2K.
For Nova, that is such an unfortunate result. Like you said, Jane being on practically no HP there, perfectly lobs that grenade through the window. Will take down Frozen. Now Nova starting the day where they wanted to have that comeback, where they wanted to have that domination on day 3 to send them towards that upper side and really be in the fight for those number 1 and 2nd spots. Realistically, they want the trophy once again. But right now, it's S2G and Inco hugely pulling ahead. And with Inco losing 2, it might just be S2G creating an even bigger buffer between them and the rest of the teams in this lobby.
Alter Ego. They have absolutely spurred the crowd to hysteria sometimes, especially with their chicken dinner yesterday. But they do still have their work cut out for them. 15th place right now, 65 points on the board. They aren't lost. I think that's what we can say for them. But they did manage to get the chicken dinner, and the one that they did get, it was fairly convincing.
Yeah, it was a good chicken dinner. I was talking to Denny about it, the coach from the team, saying that, you know, they were given the circle. I had to be nice to him. I was like, look, you're given the circle, but you still have to play that out correctly. Take that win. I think that Indonesia could be certainly proud. And he said, yeah, well, we changed a few things, and we've worked on it. And again, this is PMGC. This is the hardest PMGC we've had in basically forever. So for Alter Ego to continue performing like this, it's really good to see. And I don't think there's a single team here that has underperformed massively. Maybe VPE, you could say, currently at 45 points, but there is 6 more matches still to go. Maybe they can change things.
Nova at the top of Everest after getting backed off the position in the compound across the river by T2K with a sneaky little nade. Godlike Stalwart moving on the southeast side as IHC and Fireflux in the crates near Georgia Pole looking to lay claim. I think Fireflux, yeah, they have just been trying to move in on that west coast, and Solke gets spotted. IHC want to close the jaws of this, moving 2 players up to the warehouse. Solke into the vehicle as well, looks to hop out as they will have heard that one. The engine did switch on, and 2 players going straight on in. Solke with a challenge now, half HP, going to be tricky to make it work. UMP to move forwards, a lot of damage sent in, but Solke's being flushed out, goes for the challenge, and it is IHC to take him down. Solke falls, and the rest of Fireflux divert attention, they flee, go back south.
Very nice stuff there coming through from IHC. Well, let's get themselves few, or at least 1 point, right? That 1 elimination, but it gives them a nice little platform to play from going forward. Order 50 eliminations. I mean, it's difficult not to go for him. Yuhai did have 49 though, so you gotta respect that. Just a little bit behind Order, who is kind of too good. Let's be honest.
4 angry men. Maybe making a little bit of an impact themselves. Currently 93 points, 7th place. Nova only 3 points ahead of them. Svan, the legacy player from this roster, keeping them in and leading from the front, really. I feel like this is a roster that has had quite a lot of power with it.
Yeah, WWX has been doing a very, very good job as well for that team. Been putting in a lot of work. I don't think there's really anyone on there that hasn't pulled their weight, and I think that's exactly what the organization wanted. Yes, Svan is great at leading that team, and he certainly does look like he has a ton of experience on board, but I think they have created this core now which is quite strong and is certainly something that will carry 4AM to even greater heights coming towards that future. They're not that far behind some of these big teams towards the top. I think it was 93 points they started on today, which is fantastic. That still gives you a good running, 30 points behind the front runners. That's just one big chicken dinner. And right now, with where they're currently sat, they maintain a lot of the control over towards that northwestern side of the circle. And a lot of times, 4AM really struggles when they lose players early on. They're not able to get themselves set up. They can't play their splits. They've been given enough time now, I'd say, that they can set themselves up for a very strong late game without losing players at this current moment. Means that I think this could be a good 4AM game.
Influence came in as well, shimmying around on that northern side. Alpha 7 just a little bit to their west right now. Influence came in the lowest scoring Brazilian team, but in 8th place with 91 points, still in that contest, which is saying something. 3 Brazilian teams here in the finals. We've got 3 Chinese teams, but those nationalities are the highest represented in this stage. So the fact that all 3 of those Brazilian teams have over 90 points is really quite saying something.
It's an astounding result for the region, honestly. I think if you're a Brazilian fan, you should absolutely be proud of your country. You know, they've really fielded not only 1 team, 2 teams, but 12 separate players, all right now here in the PMGC. Every single one of them of insanely good caliber. It's very difficult to find that in any one country or region, just in the sense of like, being able to, even if you're able to cherry pick, being able to have that core, that synergy as well, and all these players working together, this is a very rare occurrence that you do not see very, very often. I think it's wonderful to see as well. I mean, just Americas in general having this standout region for themselves, this standout country, bringing this kind of presence, this kind of pressure to every other team within this lobby. We've had a real turn of good events here in the PMGC, and over this last year, PUBG Mobile, a lot of successes. And right now, I think that PUBG Mobile is only going to get harder in terms of skill and what you're going to have to bring to the table. But I think we're only getting better talent coming through to the scene, and I think we'll see some more familiar faces going towards the future.
I feel like that is the story that we've seen over the course of this year, is the leveling up of every single region.
Yeah.
I think there is not one that doesn't have some sort of massive improvement that we've seen over the course of this year, which is absolutely phenomenal, and it makes me really excited, especially for, I mean, what is next year's final going to look like over in Turkey?
100%. I think that when you look at it, it's like, it feels very much like the PUBG Mobile team is trying to bring us more in line with the Chinese type of esports, PEL, for instance. Yeah. You know, we're getting similar points in terms of their point system. It's not exactly the same. I think they have some slightly different rules when it comes to eliminations, but we've got different circle changes now, making the game much more fair. I think overall, you know, not only is everyone leveling up to the level of China, but now also we're having our scene becoming much more similar to theirs. I think we're going to see a whole new game coming to the next year. And it's just these little changes that are completely changing the dynamic of the game. And it's very fun to see. And you can tell that the PUBG Mobile team is working really hard in the background to make sure everyone at home, everyone during the tournaments, everyone who's competing in the tournaments is getting the best game to compete in. So I'm proud to be part of this community, man.
Well said.
Thank you.
An admirable sentiment, and one that I firmly agree with. The circle, coming back into this game, blank, it went hard northwest. This is a hard shift up to the north side, but it's probably one of the better circles for this current split. Isolating and leaving that river means that teams won't have to make that 50-50 coin flip. Instead, they'll look to play these set pieces around the river crossings. But Wolves going to look to hold that on the south.
Absolutely. I think that when you look at this as well, one team in particular catches my attention is Alpha 7. Not an easy push, not an easy rotation for them coming up from mill to power to suddenly being towards the center of the circle here, shooting range. But S2G currently taking a lot of casualties here versus Wolves. Just one player remaining, and it's Nova as well off in the distance, taking some pot shots. They have one player that might be able to get them back up on their feet, but there is an enemy team in the background. It's Stalwart coming through, and Hamzy G just sent for the water. Swim this one out.
Paraboy with plenty of support of his own in this arena here in Jakarta. Going to be taking shots actually over towards everyone. Godlike Stalwart also third partying in. Beautiful wants to confirm these flushes. 2 players active for the Wolves. And he moves up on the ridgeline. Hamzy G is beneath him. Needs to be careful, but there does seem to be some backup there. Calceep, Silas, both going to be flushed out. Now they can turn their attention to the reses, unless Hamzy G has something to say about it. Floating around near the boat. Remember, spots it. And there's no way Hamzy gets up here.
Goodness me, the top 2 teams looking like they've come out of the ring with Muhammad Ali, because honestly, they look battered at this stage of the game. I think that you're looking at this, and this is a great opportunity for teams underneath them, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th here even, down to 7th. They could jump up now. This is a great opportunity. The fact that Inco, as well as S2G, aren't really going to profit very much from this game if they don't get their players in towards that end game in the first place. This is a very wild start to our day 3, where absolutely no one's safe once again.
The southwest side being overseen by 4 Angry Men. We talked about how strong their position was for quite a while, actually, and now Vampire finding out just what a difficult position it will be. The circle gives 4 Angry Men as well some legs into the next phase. On the south side of it, that cut does keep them in, but Vampire going to have to push further north.
I think when you look at 4AM's position, it's actually incredibly good. purely with where they're playing. They have a massive amount of high ground looking down towards the players underneath. Ingo's making a swift rotation on that northern side. In the meantime, got like Stalwart still taking some good shots. Memory pumps them down below. That's Hamzy G going down too. So S2G out now.
Second place team eliminated on 124 points now after the game. Once you add that elimination point in, Inco might actually have, with a duo, an opportunity to open up a 7-8 point lead if they're lucky. See how much further they can go. Godlike Stalwart not stopping with just the one team. They want to try and take a second as well. They want to ruin the day of Wolves. It seemed like they were somewhat back on form coming into yesterday.
Looked a bit better. I think that was just a case of being able to figure out the lobby. Again, one of the invited teams. They didn't get to play with these circle settings for our group stage. I think for Alter Ego, again, still very admirable for this team to be where they currently are, considering they didn't get a lot of practice during that group stage against a lot of these teams and the new circle settings. It's a lot to come into, a lot to figure out on the fly. Wolves now going down. Inco moved across that northern side, like I said before. A bit of a dangerous push, but they made it happen. Unfortunately, Influence came in the wings on that northwest side. That will be a problem for them later. 4 AM though. Spot Nova coming towards them. Already find one, and I think it might be lights out for Nova at this rate.
Nova with just order now to keep them alive. Repositions, maybe looking for the res over onto Paraboy. Will not be the easiest, but no, they aren't actually going to try and make that one happen. Probably wise. Only one first aid available for order in the meantime. Catch from Fireflux. 3 of those players alive as well, as Godlike Stalwart rocks straight on up into T2K. Scry has gone down, but they send Rig on kneeling as well. Pika on the inside of the shack finds a player, gets the knock. And Godlike Stalwart turning up the heat. Maxman with the jersey.
I mean, you can only curse them for so long, right? It's got to cancel out at some point during this day, and it feels like it's right now. 6 eliminations. Good stuff. Alter Ego on the prowl, though, from afar. Shots coming through. Stalwart taking a heavy amount of punishment. Should be able to get some reses off, some meds through. Vampire Esports also looking towards his position. Mini 14.
Oh, not quite able to spot what they needed there for Fluke. Smokes to allow them forwards, though. Could sneak a couple nades into the shack. And they swing down low. Ravenclaw leads that charge. Alter Ego won't be able to spot that, but the shot's still pouring on in from Godlike Stalwart. They've lost action, so they are at 3. 6 eliminations, and they are caught in the midst of it. A nade forwards from Ravenclaw, and a knock over onto Scry. Pika, half HP, has to move out the back there. Top wanting to try and play anchor. Nova eliminated in the meantime. Central position. Fluke spotted, and Alter Ego starting to light it up here. Ravenclaw wants another nade over the top, but taken very, very low. Has to run with the blue zone at his back now.
Ooh.
An uncomfortable scenario, but Stoned has it with the
That's 4 AM.
support coming on in. Stoned moves up around the edge, but the Vampire's not going to stand too much longer there. 13th place and only 2 eliminations.
I wonder if 4 AM has bead onto this. I mean, this is uphill, so a little bit more of a tough angle to take shots at towards. Vampire Esports, what a rough time of it, though. Running through all this, trying to take shots at the team from Stalwart, also taking shots from Alter Ego, send them back, and Alter Ego is very happy to just send this one away. But at AMP, that's Sky Only running down one of Influence Kevin's players. Inco down to 1, they cut their losses, sent one of their players up towards the northwest side, and Vitali over towards the center. Right now, it will be earning 1 point just in terms of ranking from a 12th place. See how long Vitali can go for. Any kind of points he can get at this point is useful to them.
DRS. You call them a very effective edge-playing team.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best in the lobby. They'll be playing from that north side. They were suppressing Alpha Ego's movements on the south side. As 4 Angry Men rack up their 5th elimination of this game so far. They're going to hound on the heels of DRS.
Absolutely. I mean, DRS is sneaky, like the assassins of the lobby. It's really fun to watch them play, honestly, because like I said, they are probably one of the best edge teams in the lobby. It's not easy to play edge. I think Fireflux has certainly suffered because of those reasonings. This lobby just doesn't take to it. But on this northeastern side and of the east side in general, DRS has found themselves a really, really strong position to play it from. The moment they're cutting down Alter Ego. Crunch between the vehicles, won't go down though, he's been sent all over the place.
Hops out for a trade, an alter ego rolled up on by DRS. A presence to be felt and feared. 5 eliminations now on the game for DRS as they take that northeastern side. Very, very close by to Alpha 7 on the overall standings as Influence Kemin look to try and close that gap as well. Law moving in against Buradam. Sky only fades out in the background. Tiger last standing for the squad. Swings out an excellent duck shot there. But unfortunately, across the way, it's Alpha 7.
Alpha 7 taking down Influence Kemin. Well, Buradam saving the lives of their Brazilian brethren. Really good stuff there. But that season with 3 eliminations now. But 4am not quite done yet. Losing 1 player is a little bit problematic. Geek Fam down towards their western side. Fireflux ahead. IHC looking to sweep on that northern side up towards Influence Kemin. But A7's got this real crazy lineup over on the northeastern side. Feels like they've found their footing, found their rhythm just a little bit. That's Geek Fam going down. 4am taking themselves up to a hefty 8 elimination count. Sitting steady now with Stalwart, also on 8 eliminations.
Influence Kemin moving on through. I say Influence Kemin, it's only Federal now. Sneaking past IHC and their edge guard on the northern side. Alpha 7 as well. Wide spread on that northeast side. Spotting IHC with Mafioso. Ziol gets away from the spray as the reload forced. Demo tucks it back behind the headland as well. And Alpha 7 not really going to find too much value other than suppressing IHC from swinging out on the north.
4am, unfortunately, lost 1 player, but they do get the circle now. There's a very good chance for them. I think for 4am, if they get a massive game at the start of the day here, it'll see them in a position where they can fight out for that first place spot. Inco, though, still alive with Vitali. So good at just remaining in these games. Some more shots coming through. 4am take this up to a 9 elimination game. Set themselves now over 100 points total.
IHC pushing in from the north. Corralled by Alpha 7 somewhat and directly into the lines of fire with 4 angry men who have been a massive force. As you'd said, 9 eliminations so far in the game, but they will hold their line. This hillside has been their sanctuary for so long.
It's a really difficult position to push up on. It is quite difficult to hold, though, as 3. When you have 4 players, it is infinitely easy just to keep players off that position. But WWX has to hold the southern side all by himself. So if Stalwart, DRS, wanted to swing in on that side, he'd have to hold it basically a solo gunman, because as soon as he goes down, they must weaken that northern side, which is another really good point to just crash upon. So it's going to be difficult for him. It will have to be perfect play here onwards for them if they want to hold this position, have a really dominant game going forward. But this eastern side has to clear itself up first. A7, DRS, T2K all still going.
Oh, nade from Legend! Gets value on that one. 2 knocks found, and DRS cut in half for the moment. Legend looks to burn them away with that Molotov as well. Rules and Delta, they're not moving. Are they just going to give this one up? It seems like they might. Killer, very, very tricky to get him back up, but that is massive. A solo player from T2K could have just changed the tide of the northeast side of this fight. Alpha 7 now with so much more room, and they've already started to take care of IHC on their western edge. Yeah,
IHC getting absolutely blasted apart at the moment. Alpha 7 really has just rocked this entire lobby's lives. The sound of resounding grenades, shrapnel all over the place, with Alpha 7's signature all over it. 4am, though, again, still hesitant to move. Pretty sure the circle's going to come down towards him. Not really much point in being too aggressive at this point, especially with 9 eliminations. You know, finishing this game out with second or a first place, ideally, would be perfect for them.
Legend spotted. Rules with a little bit of retribution, and they will be able to res for a 3rd player on the DRS roster, but that leaves Alpha 7 at the advantage. Inco, still alive, by the way, in this engagement.
I mean, this is just typical Inco, honestly. I think that they're just able to slip past the defenses and senses of a lot of these teams. And he's even taking knocks over down towards Pika, leaving Top as the final player. Vitali will finish off Pika with the help of 4am. And now Top might be looking up that way, up to a 6th place finish if Vitali went down now. For 4AM, this is a really good circle. The fact that isolates WWX's position on that south side means there's less position to have to take care of on this hillside, which means they can consolidate their forces a little bit more. They do need to wait for that to happen, though, and it will be a little time. But with IHC in Alpha 7 in a chokehold, in a lock, which Alpha 7 is going to want to break right now, this could be difficult.
A double roll-up, close range, up and personals, the old falls.
Goodness me.
Mafioso shots from the heavens as well, take them out. But Mythic gets knocked and flushed as 4AM pinch another one away. Revo gets the heal off Mythic. Down and out.
Honestly, such a good play from Alpha 7. Similarly, such a good play from 4AM, being able to take that point and flush. That means the team's down to 3. Their main advantage coming into this last circle, the fact that they were at 4 players total, really, really well played. Look at the sniper lineup on 4AM as well. AWM available, Car 98K, a Mini 14. They have the long-range advantage. They can just get involved in all these fights. Vitaly, though, 2 for 2, over on top of Stalwart. And that'll be them laddering up to a 4th place at least.
Guaranteed 4th place. Points starting to rack
Silly
up
stuff.
for Vitaly. With their main competition going down early as well, it's going to be tricky. Here comes the roll-up for Alpha 7, 4 Angry Men. They do have a lot of snipers, but they've got a lot of firepower in those close-range fights too. Just Revo as the backline has been isolated. Revo moves forwards, a third of his HP, and that's swiftly snuffed out. 4 Angry Men are dominant here in the open fields. 4 Angry Men with more to do, though, against Vitaly and DRS.
I mean, I was saying from day 2 that the way 4AM was playing on day 1, I felt like it was in the back pocket for them. Vitaly steps out for just a second. WWX with the M4 just sends the bullets in. That'll be Inco down, up to 15 eliminations now. AWM still in pocket. DRS, I still think that this is a team that can challenge versus 4AM. Circle will definitely be a big factor in this last engagement.
This is massive for 4AM, not only because of the difference that they have in points to the top of the tables, but also to stop DRS as well, who are a team ahead of them. If 4 Angry Men can convert here, it's huge.
30 points is what we were asking for. Right now, 15 eliminations, a potential 3 more. 33 points total would be huge. WWX brings out the big boy. The AWM looks over towards that direction. Unfortunately, with DRS, with the circle at their back, they will have to move forward. So a knock at this point of the game, this stage of the game, it's not going to be too influential. Ching Chen picks himself up a vehicle. They know they'll need cover going into this last fight. Through the smoke. This is so smart from 4AM. They really are setting up this end game very well. And they're already inside the next circle, which was their biggest problem, John.
2 players move forward, and now Ching Chen is given that platform to move in. The movement from 4AM is disciplined now. Svan, WWX, Ching Chen on a wide split. Svan repositioning now, wants to get a little bit tighter on in, and that puts all of them in the next circle.
This smoke usage is disgusting. And honestly, at this point in time, I think 4AM's kind of played the winning move, right? This is almost checkmate. With them in such a defensive area, and DRS now forced to walk down the hill, coming into zone 9. But that's a great refrag, a great re-knock onto Ching Chen. Now in a 1v2, it's going to be difficult for him to pick them back up again. Svan has to put the hurt down over toward DRS. That's going to require a first aid kit, but he finds another. Down to 1 in just Giante. Svan's taking this all home by himself.
15 eliminations so far. They want to rack up 18 blank. It would be a monumental 33-point game for them. And Delta is going to go down. A 16th point on the elimination card for them now this game, and Ching Chen is rezzed. WWX has the nade, launching it on forwards. Behind the tree it goes long, and Renox rules. Gianti now, the last on the menu, and 4AM are hungry. They want to take it here, they want to take it now, and the top of the tables is not safe.
A disgusting game coming through from 4AM. It was only a matter of time. Not losing members early on seems to be the key for them, but they got themselves into a perfect spot. A long run for them with that plane path up towards North George. Played it perfectly out to the edge. What a way to set this one up, John. Lovely to see.
We said today anything can happen. Anybody in the top side of those tables can take this one, can move on up when it counts, and that has been proven. Match 1 here. We still got